So here's my main motivation for making this video series. The biggest challenge I had was finding information on wiring. I've learned a lot in this video series. For example, you'll notice I had trouble remembering how to say MC4 connector. Also, when I refer to number 4 or number 10 wires, what I meant was 4 gauge or 10 gauge wires. And one important warning here, if you're using new solar panels, you should be aware that drilling into the panel frame might void your warranty. I didn't have that problem because I used solar panels. Well, it's a rare sunny day here in Portland. This winter has been the doozy. I've lived in Portland now for 30 years, and this has been the craziest winter that we've had. Lots of ice and snow. I'm really enjoying this opportunity to come out and get up on the roof and do some work. So there's quite a bit that I'm able to do. It's moving along pretty fast. So I'll show you what I'm able to do so far and what I need to wait for some help for. Well, I got the MP4 connectors installed. It went pretty well, although I tried doing it just by my own intuition at first, and that didn't work so well. It took me 3 tries to get them on correctly, so I would recommend that you look online, see how to install MC4 connectors. There's some really good videos out there, so I won't go into it. But just suffice to say, if you follow the instructions, it works really well. And so I've got MC4 connectors on my panels. I do want to point out one thing, and that's that you have one that has a plus on it. And this is what's called the female connector. And that's because this one's slightly larger on the inside. And you want to make sure that the plus is on the positive of the panel. Now, I don't know if you noticed from the last video, I had taped up the wires with different colors. I had black on the negative, and I didn't have any red tape, so I used purple on the positive. And I was very glad that I had done that, because once the panels were mounted, there was no way for me to tell which is which. But I was careful to not take the tape off until I had the connector on the other contact, the other lead there. And so on this side, it's the red wire goes to this one, and the black wire goes to this one. Just keep in mind, the panels should have the correct orientation, and then ignore the polarity on the connectors that go to the combo box. Okay, here's my combo box. It's just a junction box with some fittings on it. And I'm going to connect the number 10 wires that I will soon connect to these panels into the combo box, and then this connector here will be attached to this wire harness. I have taken 2 number 4 cables and stuffed them into a 1/2 inch wire loom. As you can see, they barely fit, but that's not a big deal. Just trying to give them a little extra protection. And I've also included a ground wire. It's going to go down all of the wiring. I'm going to parallel with the grounding wires to make sure everything is properly grounded. And I've got my hole in the here's the refrigerator vent cover, and there's the refrigerator vent. Here's my cabling from the panels to the box, and it really looks identical. It's got the same loom as the number 4 wiring, but as you can see, it's much easier to fit. I've got 2 just cheap number 10 wires in there, and I got this loom. It doesn't cost very much, and it's UV shielded, so I decided I didn't have to worry about shielding the wires. I just got cheap number 10 cables, and I put them inside along with the grounding wire, and the loom will keep it safe from the elements. I should also mention that there's some disclaimers. Obviously, I'm up high here, and you want to be careful. I didn't leave myself a lot of room to walk, so I have to be real careful. I have a window cleaning business, so I am up in a lot of high, tight spaces, so this doesn't bother me, but just make sure you're careful. Don't take any unnecessary risks. And also, when you're working with electricity, none of the wires are live at this point, but as soon as I plug in the cables to the panels, I'm going to be dealing with some live wires. So once again, take precautions, make sure you know what you're doing, and if you're not sure, get somebody who does to help you. Have I mentioned do-it-yourself is all about trial and error? Well, I'm glad I didn't put too much Dicor on these screws, because I just realized I really have to be able to move the panel in order to drill this. Otherwise, I'm going to get a crooked hole. So I'm going to unscrew those, and not having so much of that roof adhesive on there is really going to help me in this case. By roof adhesive, I meant roof sealant. I was starting to run the wires down the refrigerator vent, but in the process we discovered that wasn't the best way to do that in this case. And most RV fridges have an empty space in the back side of the vent where you can run wires down, but that didn't work for us, and I'll show you why and what we ended up doing instead.